It seems like Trump's media stock has experienced a significant decline following the company's decision to sell additional shares. An 18% drop in stock filing can have significant implications for investors and the company's financial health.
Though previously Trump media lost $58 million or $59 million in 2023 and only earned $4 million in revenue, the stock is trading at a valuation that is thousands of times what I think, and this again, my opinion, normal valuation would be. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just giving you my opinions. I want to share with you the recent financial.
The decision by Trump media to register up to 146.1 million shares for sale, including nearly 115 million owned by Trump, is significant and could have various implications for the company and its stakeholders.
There is a delay in the financial filing because of their auditor. This is what's called a Form 12b-5, and here's what it says. It says, if the subject report cannot be filed without unreasonable effort or expense, and the registrant seeks relief pursuant to Rule 12b-25b, the following should be completed. And it says, state below in reasonable detail the reasons why Forms 10K, 20F, 11K, 10Q, and N-SAR, or the transition report or portion thereof, cannot be filed within the prescribed time period.
The inclusion of an additional 21.5 million shares linked to warrants in the potential sale adds another layer of complexity to Trump media's stock offering. Warrants are financial instruments that give investors the right to buy or sell a specified number of shares at a predetermined price within a set period.
They can't file their financials because something happened, so they have to file what's called a Form 12b-25 to explain this event, why they can't disclose additional financial results.
The continued decline in Trump media's TMTG stock price reflects ongoing investor uncertainty and concerns about the company's financial performance and future prospects. The stock has experienced significant volatility since it began trading following its merger with Digital World Acquisition Corp., losing about half of its value by April 12th. The latest decline in TMTG share price coincided with developments related to former President Trump's criminal trial on hush money payment charges.
Had settled charges against B.F. Borgers, CPA. As part of the settlement, B.F. Borgers agreed to a permanent ban on appearing or practicing before the SEC. As previously reported in the company's current report on Form 8K, filed with the Commission on May 6, 2024, the company dismissed B.F. Borgers as its auditor.
Indeed, when a company files to register additional shares for resale, it can dilute the ownership stake of existing shareholders, potentially leading to a decline in the stock price as the market adjusts to the increased supply of shares. This is especially true for companies that have recently gone public through a merger with a special purpose acquisition company, as the market may already be sensitive to fluctuations in their stock price.
By the way, you see the resumption of trade on DJT there, now up some 34%. Jim, in terms of us...
Wow, I mean, look at this, will you?
What's that?
No, the DJT, I mean, if I were Donald Trump, now it's 8 million shares. This is the moment where you say that you have an obligation to release more shares. And I've got shares that I'd like to release.
Yep.
And the board can do that. The board can say no, but the board, I think, I'm not sure where Mr. Trump's head is, but this is a moment where he could very easily say, look, the stock's up 286%. No one would mind if I sold stock, so please let me do it.
The disclosure in the S-1 filing underscores the potential risks associated with Trump Media Group and its social media platform Truth Social. Given the numerous legal proceedings involving former President Trump, any adverse outcome in these cases could have a detrimental effect on TMTG's operations and financial performance. The risk factor is important for investors to consider as they assess the company's prospects and evaluate the potential impact on its stock price. Additionally, the details regarding the license agreement between TMTG and Trump highlight certain provisions that could impact the platform's content and user engagement.
All right, take a look at your screens right now. Trump's media stock is down 18% right there. You can see it. It has been dropping throughout the morning. This comes after the company that owns Truth Social posted financial numbers this morning.
The press release from Trump Media Group, TMTG, regarding the filing emphasizes that all securities being registered for resale are held by existing security holders of TMG or underlie securities held by them. The press release clarifies that TMTG will not receive any proceedings from the sale of any securities registered on the registration statement, except in the event of any possible future exercise for cash or any outstanding warrants.
I don't need to because he's prideful. But I don't know. I think that no one would begrudge him if he went to the board and say, look, I'd like to have some stock released.
Well, there was a nice piece in the FT yesterday about the ratio of insider selling to buying. I mean, it's fairly bearish, you could argue, but it hasn't stopped some of these names from powering higher. Meta's a good example.
Well, I just think if you own stock in one of these mega caps and you're not selling, that it's almost like from the point of view of estate planning, you're being very foolish.
Trump Media Group's statement emphasizes that the inclusion of individuals or entities as selling security holders in the registration statement does not imply that they have immediate plans to sell their shares. This clarification suggests that the registration of these securities for resale provides flexibility for existing security holders to potentially sell their shares in the future if they chose to do so, but it does not guarantee any immediate or imminent sales.
The stock really had been going up like a rocket ship until now. These new numbers are forcing a mini reality check. I say mini because despite the loss of 18% as we speak, we're still talking about a stock that has skyrocketed about 200% so far this year. It spiked in January when Donald Trump ran away with the Iowa caucuses and up again as the company went.
The regulatory filings from earlier this month revealed significant financial challenges for Trump Media Group. Despite generating approximately $4 million in revenue, the company incurred operating losses exceeding $58 million in 2023. This substantial deficit raises concerns about the company's financial viability and its ability to sustain its operations in the future.
Here's the latest numbers that are concerning investors. Truth Social owner Trump Media lost $58 million last year, and it generated very, very little revenue, just $4.1 million in revenue. Put some context around that figure of revenue. If you look back at what Twitter generated when it went public about a decade ago, in that final year when it went public, $665 million, more than 100 times what Trump Media has been able to rake in.
The experts' warnings about the anticipated volatility of Trump Media Group were prescient, as the company's performance has indeed been highly erratic. Analysts have drawn comparisons between Trump Media and meme stocks like GameStop and AMC Entertainment Holdings Inc., highlighting the speculative nature of investment in the company's stock.
Threw a lot out there over the last few days at Michael Cohen. They have all sorts of theories, but they're trying to see what sticks, and they really haven't come up with an alternate theory about what happened here that explains it. They're doing a good job of showing Michael Cohen to be shifty. They're doing a good job of showing him to be a liar, and today they did a good job of showing him to be lying to this very jury.
The courtroom drama continues in Donald Trump's hush money trial as the former president, accompanied by his son Eric and vocal congressional supporters Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz, returned for the 18th day of proceedings. Michael Cohen, a key witness for the prosecution, faced intense cross-examination by Trump's attorney Todd Blanche. Blanche's questioning focused on Cohen's covert recordings of conversations, seeking to undermine the credibility of the evidence presented. In a tense exchange, Blanche queried Cohen about whether he had informed anyone that he was recording their conversation.
That this is where, again, we're at late points in this trial here, and literally as we thought that maybe today would be the day that Todd Blanche would finish his cross-examination of Michael Cohen, you now have a moment here where there is last-minute negotiating over what can be brought before this jury ahead of what is now going to be a 3-day weekend.
Trump's defense team launched their cross-examination of Michael Cohen by presenting excerpts from his podcast, Mea Culpa, where Cohen enthusiastically celebrated Trump's indictment. The clips showcased Cohen's excited and impassioned remarks, expressing his desire for Trump to face consequences, including imprisonment. Among the statements played in court were Cohen's declarations of hoping for Trump to end up in prison and expressing glee at the prospect of Trump facing justice. This strategic move by the defense aimed to highlight Cohen's personal animosity towards Trump and cast doubt on the credibility of his testimony.
To that lunch break, that is where the October 24th phone call was called into question by Todd Blanche, in whether those text messages would suggest that the conversation between Michael Cohen and Keith Schiller were something different than what Michael Cohen testified on Monday to that conversation being. But the one part about this is that we were looking this afternoon, what other parts of Michael Cohen's story would be called into question.
Prosecutors have meticulously laid the groundwork over the past few weeks to portray Michael Cohen as a figure with an exaggerated personality and sometimes questionable behavior. This approach aims to eliminate any surprises about Cohen's character and his hostility towards Trump before the defense begins their cross-examination.
And the cross-examination is not over. It picks up again on Monday, and then there would be a redirect. So the prosecutors are taking notes of any, I think we should say we're all grown-ups. So we're not going to grade on a curve. Todd Blanche seemed to have made one good point about Michael Cohen's direct testimony about this phone call from October 24.
During the trial, the former White House Communications Director Hope Hicks testified that Michael Cohen often tried to insert himself into Trump's campaign and would annoy staff members in doing so. However, prosecutors displayed text messages in court that showed Hicks seeking input from Cohen about how to respond to incidents, such as the Access Hollywood tape and a Wall Street Journal story in October and November 2016. This contradicted Hicks's earlier testimony, suggesting that she did indeed value Cohen's input despite her claims about his behavior.
Today, the defense questions suggested many different doubts. Is Cohen's story the whole truth? Did he have an unhealthy and even unhinged psychodramatic relationship with Donald Trump, whom he once said he was obsessed with?
During the cross-examination, Trump's attorney Todd Blanche aimed to portray Michael Cohen as a habitual liar by confronting him with various false statements he made while under oath. One such statement was Cohen's testimony before the House Oversight Committee in 2017, where he lied about the frequency of his discussions with Trump regarding a Trump Tower project in Moscow. Cohen admitted to lying on this occasion and has attributed his falsehoods to his loyalty to Trump. Blanche emphasized the suggestion that Cohen is inclined to lie readily and opportunistically.
Options are asking Michael Cohen if he has any regrets working for Trump, to which he responded, quote, "I regret doing things for him that I should not have, lying, bullying people to effectuate the goal. I do not regret working for the Trump organization. As I expressed before, some very interesting and great times."
During the cross-examination, Blanche highlighted Cohen's guilty plea in August 2018 for federal tax evasion and false statements in New York. Blanche asked Cohen if anyone had coerced or threatened him to plead guilty, to which Cohen responded that he made the decision to protect his family after being given 48 hours to accept the plea or face a lengthy indictment that also included his wife. Blanche inquired about discussions regarding a job offer for Cohen, such as Assistant General Counsel or Chief of Staff, to which Cohen denied any such discussions. He clarified that he didn't want the role of Chief of Staff and believed it wasn't suitable for him, emphasizing that his desire was primarily to have his name considered for the position. Cohen admitted suggesting to Trump that he could serve as his personal attorney, a role typically filled by outside counsel to handle legal matters unrelated to governance.
Things he asked me to do, I violated my moral compass, and I suffered the penalty, as has my family. A dramatic day of testimony from a former Trump loyalist turned star witness for the prosecution that is very much still happening and underway at this hour.
During the cross-examination, Blanche asked Cohen if he felt induced to plead guilty, to which Cohen responded that he never denied the underlying facts, but didn't believe he should have been criminally charged for the offenses. Blanche then questioned Cohen about his tendency to shift blame onto others, citing instances where Cohen blamed his bank, accountant, federal prosecutors, the judge, and President Trump. Cohen admitted to this pattern of behavior. The defense's line of questioning aimed to portray Cohen as a deceitful and opportunistic individual whose propensity for lying, both small and large, makes it difficult to discern truth from falsehood in his testimony. This strategy seeks to undermine Cohen's credibility with the jury by emphasizing his unreliability as a witness.
Michael Cohen never would have spent enough money. I mean, Michael Cohen didn't have a budget to buy lunch without Donald Trump's permission.
Are you reading from my notes?
No! I can barely see mine.
That is...
During his testimony, Cohen recounted exchanging texts with his college-age daughter after learning he was not being considered for the role of chief of staff in the White House. He described his daughter's concern about his disappointment and reassured her that there would be other opportunities. Cohen explained that he was hoping for a hybrid attorney role that would grant him access to Trump while also allowing him to monetize his relationship with the president. He assured his daughter that he would explain these opportunities further once they became more concrete.
All of the efforts to smear Michael Cohen are in some ways a bulwark against whatever Todd Blanche is doing, right? I mean, they elicited from Hope Hicks that he wasn't the kind of guy who would pay out of his pocket for anything. He elicited from David Pecker that Michael Cohen didn't have a leash long enough to buy his own cup of coffee. He elicited from every witness.
During the cross-examination, Blanche emphasized the legality of the contract between Cohen and Daniels, highlighting that it was a binding agreement entered into by two parties with legal representation. Cohen affirmed that such settlements were common and legal. Blanche also pointed to the non-disclosure agreement signed under pseudonyms by Trump and Daniels, suggesting it was a standard practice. This line of questioning aimed to undermine the prosecution's claim that Trump falsified business records, implying that the payments were legitimate legal expenses related to the agreement. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.